Meld has just landed one of its biggest licenses to date, allowing for them to tokenize assets, undergo cryptocurrency trading, as well as provide fiat on ramps and off ramps. As a part of today's video, I want to highlight number one, what the license is, and then number two, all the utility that it aims to provide. What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here for Reed. As I just mentioned, Meld landing one of the biggest licenses to date, allowing for them to act as a cryptocurrency broker, allowing for them to create an off and on ramp, as well as tokenized RWAs or real world assets. So without any further ado, let's jump right on in. This was just released earlier by the official Meld team on their Twitter. If you're not already following them there, I highly recommend you go ahead and do so. If you haven't heard of Meld before, they're a lending and borrowing protocol. They've got their Plutus smart contracts already developed and open sourced on Cardano, and they're now aiming to build out their own L1 utilizing Avalanche. So if you guys have not caught up on Meld and you want to, definitely check out my playlist. I've got over 30 plus videos breaking down everything that Meld has released. Now, we just saw the Meld team releasing their testnet about 2 weeks ago. So if you guys want to actually begin to lend and borrow utilizing an EVM-based wallet, you can go ahead and do so, and I'll leave the links to that down below. Now, this was just released about a couple of hours ago, stating Meld has officially secured its VASP license. I want to break down exactly what this license allows for Meld to do and exactly where this falls when it comes to Meld being the Web3 banking stack. So it reads, the VASP license enables the provisioning of digital asset services such as cryptocurrency trading, on and off ramping of assets, tokenization, and both custodial plus non-custodial digital wallet services. Now, this has been certified by the FCIS of Lithuania, which I'm going to highlight here in a little bit more detail. Now, to just kind of dive a little bit deeper into what the VASP license, or the Virtual Asset Service Provider license, allows for Meld to do, it reads here that the VASP is defined by the Financial Action Task Force, or the FATF, as a business that conducts one or more of the following actions on behalf of its clients. Again, you have the ability to exchange between virtual assets and fiat currencies. If you're not aware, the fact that Meld is a banking protocol, this is a huge aspect to what they need to be able to do, especially when it comes to providing a pipeline from a traditional Web2 bank account all the way to onboarding and utilizing the Meld lending and borrowing protocol. Number two, it allows for them to exchange between one or more forms of virtual assets, essentially cryptocurrency trading, as well as the transfer of virtual assets. Number four, the ability to safekeep and or administer virtual assets or instruments, enabling control over virtual assets. I essentially believe that this is alluding to RWAs, or real world assets. And we just saw Meld partnering up with Swarm in order to onboard real world assets, including tokenized stocks, as well as tokenized gold, commodities, whatever you can think of that you have in the physical. Imagine being able to tokenize that with a platform like Swarm, bring that on chain, and then utilize that as collateral on the actual Meld lending and borrowing protocol. This will allow for so many people to finally tap in to the value of assets that they've had in person or in real life that they haven't been able to use on blockchain. So this is a huge offering here. Last but not least, it provides them the ability to participate and provision financial services related to an issuer's offer and or sale of a virtual asset. So a really big feature here coming in from Meld. And I highlighted this earlier. We haven't seen any DeFi protocol take this sort of route. A lot of DeFi protocols that I'm aware of deal solely within the blockchain space. Meld is essentially trying to bridge the gap between traditional finance and the Web3 space, or the crypto and blockchain space. And it's the partnerships and the adoption of licenses like the Virtual Asset Service Provider license that really goes to show that this is not just your everyday lending and borrowing protocol. So while a lot of people have been anxious to get Meld live, I totally understand. And it's definitely a unique critique. However, the team has shown that they're aiming to do something different, and they're aiming to do something big. So where does this actually fall within the actual Web3 banking stack? You can imagine that we're still waiting on the EMI license, or the Electronic Money Institution license, which allows for Meld to essentially behave as a neobank, which is basically a bank without a brick and mortar home. So imagine being able to open up a bank account, right? In the traditional Web2 sense, being able to load fiat directly into that account with this VASP license, then being able to actually take that fiat, transfer that into on-chain currency or into digital assets that you can then use on the MELD lending and borrowing protocol. So it's essentially a three-piece process. The first process is to finish the EMI process, which the team is continuously working on. They've mentioned before that they're no longer going to be giving the community updates as to when they believe they have it until they actually have it done. And that's exactly what we saw being done with this VASP. Now, once they've got the EMI in place and people can open up their bank accounts, they now have the piece in place, which is the VASP, to allow for transferring, on ramping, and the sales and trading of cryptocurrency of fiat into cryptocurrency. Now, once that cryptocurrency is on the MELD L1 or on Cardano, you can now leverage that directly by using it as collateral, right? Or just by supplying in order to earn a yield on the MELD lending and borrowing protocol. So now that we have the testnet complete and we have sort of that bridge, which is the VASP, all we're really missing is that EMI license. Again, keep in mind that the MELD team is actively working with multiple partners to file for the EMI, and I'll be breaking that news as soon as we get it. So I want to jump back in here and quickly touch on the FCIS, which stands for the Financial Crime Investigation Service, which is actually the platform or the institution that awarded MELD their license. So the Financial Crime Investigation Service, which is based in Lithuania, was first established on the 4th of February in 1997 as the Tax Police Department under the Ministry of Interior. Now, in 2002, it was reorganized and renamed to the Financial Crime Investigation Service. Since 2002, it has closely cooperated with the European Anti-Fraud Office. So not just your regular sort of institution. This obviously deals with a lot of the financial side of things. And for them to get the recognition from Lithuania as a VASP or a virtual asset service provider only brings more legitimacy and credibility to what MELD is aiming to build. I highlighted earlier the fact that MELD has also dipped their toes into RWAs. If you missed this, I released a fully dedicated video breaking down what Swarm is and exactly how they would benefit MELD. But again, keep in mind that you can use something like Swarm to tokenize your real world assets, beginning with something like stocks, bring that on chain, leverage that, put it down as collateral, even put it down in order to earn a yield without necessarily borrowing against it. So a huge update coming out here from the MELD team. In closing, I want to just read that it states here, the license facilitates more partnership opportunities with other licensed entities to offer a wider range of financial products. Again, I believe that the RWAs are just one piece of the puzzle here. We're also aiming to get more features, right? There's 2 secret products that have not been announced by the MELD team just yet, but with the onboarding of RWAs, the launch of this VASP license, the opportunities are essentially endless. So that'll do it here for today's video. A brief one, but an important one nonetheless. Again, if you've been with me here on the MELD mission and on the MELD journey, I thank you for that. There's going to be a lot of FUD, which is, again, completely understood. Again, they've showcased here that they are a strong builder. Take a look at the user interface, jump on the testnet. And for anybody who continues to say that MELD has left Cardano, please check out their open source repository. Again, all of their smart contracts were deployed initially first on Cardano. After then, they pivoted into building on their own L1. So while a lot of people say that MELD has abandoned Cardano, I think that is far from the truth. Again, their open source repository speaks for itself. I don't see why they would develop all of that code not to use it. But however, once the issue with IOG has been resolved, we could definitely expect for MELD to jump back into and spin back up their focus on the Cardano ecosystem. So that said, let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you guys found this to be helpful. I wanted to go ahead and break this important news here with MELD becoming a virtual asset service provider, something that is not seen within the typical Web3 space. If you enjoyed today's update, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this highlighting MELD and everything that they're building, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me surrounding anything we've chatted about, then make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.